Welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your sour cream.
That's right, folks. Today is Taco Tuesday, where we celebrate the diaspora of America. Because, see, there is no better place. There's no better way to prove that diversity is a strength here in the United States, except within our cooking. I have to say, the food that we have available here in the United States, oh my God, it is phenomenal. And it's because we come from so many different places. And not only that, but how we take things that are uniquely something else and we make them uniquely American. Gotta love it, gotta love it. That's why I love and celebrate Taco Tuesday. Have no idea what kind of tacos we're going to be having today, but I'm sure that those who are responsible for making sure that this brother gets fed will make sure that I will have a decent selection of tacos. In any case, let's go ahead. And Mike is maybe joining us. He is literally on his way to location Bravo as we speak, fighting the traffic there in Florida. So I've got the line open, so if he makes it, we'll get him on in. But until then, it's going to be me. It's going to be you. We're going to be hanging out, having a good time. So do me a favor. Go ahead and comment. If you're watching the program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We said again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You're watching us on YouTube. You're watching us on Facebook. You're watching us on Twitter. And by the way, let me check and see here. I am not sure if my Twitter feed is going live. Let's see. Is it going to Twitter? Yes, it is going to Twitter. So let me just say this. Someone has hacked my Twitter account. When I say hacked, I mean I don't have access to my Twitter account. I cannot log in. They've changed the password and they've changed the email address. So for Craig DeLuz, if you're looking at Craig DeLuz, just know, yeah, right now, the only reason I'm able to send this is because I already had access through this. But I'm trying to figure out if anyone knows a way in which I can get a hold of someone over at X to get my to get my Twitter account back or my X account back. Be nice, because I got about, several thousand people that follow us and watch this show on Twitter. It'd be nice to be able to get that back. So hook a brother up, drop me a message. Obviously, if you're watching this on Twitter, you can't DM me, but you can find me through Facebook. You can find me through, if you Google me, you'll find out how to contact me. So go ahead and hook a brother up if you know a way to deal with that. Anyway, moving right along, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and start to get into the program. We're going to start off the way we usually do, and that is with a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with the folks over at Hitman Industries. They have rifle and pistol caliber barrels available to purchase at any length. If you've purchased an AR in the last few years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels. Why not get another? I don't know. If you're looking, like I said, if you're looking to do a new build, or maybe you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle, check out hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all level of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Check him out today at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market. You will find them at Hawg Holsters. That's HAWG Holsters, because they like helping Americans wear guns. Go there, check them out. And if you find a holster that you like, make sure you use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is, right up there. And you will get yours on discount. That's right. Check it out today, hogholsters.com. And then finally, if you're looking for tactical gear, trust me, like I said, weather's changing, seasons are changing, time to get some new gear. Get the latest gear. You will find it at uscombatgear.com. They have a huge selection. They have great pricing. In fact, they specialize in group pricing. So get your group together, get your agency together, get your department together. Whatever group you got, get them over to uscombatgear.com where you can find all things tactical except the gun. All right, we talked the other day about what's going on with Hamas and the fact that Hamas has decided, well, you know what we're going to start doing? We're just going to start executing people, right? Let's just start killing people, killing Palestinians in particular. Now, interestingly enough, when there was a war going on, and whether or not the Israelis were actually killing people, they were catching a lot of grief over deaths that were taking place there. Yet, most of the people in the mainstream media seem to be completely and utterly ignoring the fact that Hamas is basically going through and they are executing. They're executing people who disagree with them, or people who maybe were not supporters of theirs, but they're going through and they're actually killing Palestinians. Now, if you don't believe that it's happening, Israel actually went and sent out a video, and this video basically, Israel sent it out. The IDF sent it out, but let's be real. This is not a video that was produced by the IDF. This is a video that was produced by Hamas because they want to make sure people know, if you turn against us, this is what's going to happen to you. Now, I warn you ahead of time, this may be a little graphic. Now, the whole point of doing this, according to them, and let me go ahead and pull up the story here over at Breitbart. It says here, Hamas defends executing Palestinians. Quote, this is a transitional phase. Mohammed Nazal, a senior official with the Hamas terrorist organization, defended his group's mass execution of Palestinian civilians on Friday after President Donald Trump warned Hamas could face utter destruction for the murders. Nazal, a member of the Hamas Politburo, defended public executions as exceptional measures for dealing with criminals. He denied accusations that Hamas was simply rounding up and killing its adversaries to keep power in Gaza, even though the ceasefire deals stipulated that Hamas would play no role in post-war administration. It says here, this is a transitional phase. Civilly, there will be a technocratic administration. As I said, on the ground, Hamas will be present, he said. Nazal also cast doubt on whether Hamas would disarm or not be as required by the Gaza ceasefire deal. Quote, I can't answer yes or no. Frankly, it depends on the nature of the project. The disarmament project you're talking about, what does it mean? To whom will the weapons be handed over, he said. Hamas leader insisted the group wanted to rebuild Gaza rather than just using a truce to rearm and replenish its numbers. The goal is to prepare for future war, he said. Isn't to prepare for future war, he said. President Trump made it clear that any deviation from the ceasefire agreement would mean disaster for Hamas. So in other words, if I'm reading this right, and if President Trump is a man of his word, if he does what he says he's going to do, and for the most part, he's done what he said he would do, I'm thinking that Hamas is going to be in a little bit of trouble here. They're talking about they're acting as if they're going to be the government, and you're not. It was made very, very clear, you are not going to be in charge of anything, which basically means, and here's the thing, it's not that the U.S. is going to have to do anything. It's just, we're just not going to do anything when Israel goes in and does what they need to do. And that's what's going to wind up happening here. And this is, I mean, you literally have people who are begging for their lives. These are people who, once again, they were not, quote unquote, loyal to Hamas. That's why they are, quote unquote, considered to be criminals. In other words, they some of them they say were informants. At least that's what I was reading at Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera was saying that these were people who were informants, but these were basically people who did not support Hamas in the Gaza Strip, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why when you see the polls that came out of Gaza and they say that like something like 60-70% of the people there support what happened on October 7th, they support Hamas, it's because if they don't, well, now you know what happens to them. So it will be very interesting to see how poll numbers and whatnot change there in the Gaza Strip now that, or there in Gaza, now that they're no longer going to be in charge. I'm hoping that it spells some very, very different results in terms of polling, in terms of where people are at on stuff. I'm hoping that means that the people there will, stand up and decide and recognize and by the way, acknowledge and finally publicly admit that Hamas was starving them, that Hamas was taking all of the aid. This is all stuff we know. This is stuff that Democrats won't admit, that Hamas was taking all of the aid and they were using it to feed their troops, number one. Number two, to build terrorist tools like the terrorist tunnels, like rocket launchers. That's what they were using all the aid that they had. Yeah, that's what all that American and international aid was being used for. It was not being used to help the people of Gaza. This we know. All right, that now brings us to our second story, which has to do with former CIA director, Mr. Brennan. This was a guy who basically went before Congress and lied. Yeah, it's pretty simple. He just went before Congress and lied. And now he is going to finally be held accountable for it. This is being reported by the folks over at, where are we at here? Here we go. Folks over at Fox News. Move that over here. It says here, House Judiciary Committee refers former CIA Director John Brennan to Justice Department for prosecution. In a letter, Attorney General Pam Bondi Tuesday, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, referred former CIA Director John Brennan to the Justice Department for allegedly making false statements to Congress. Jordan accused Brennan of lying in his 2023 Judiciary Committee testimony by denying that the CIA used the Steele dossier in prepping for the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment on Russia, on Russian election interference, and falsely claimed CIA opposed including the dossier. The Steele dossier was a series of reports detailing President Trump's alleged ties to Russia. It was compiled and delivered to the FBI in 2016 by former British intelligence agent Christopher Steele. In Jordan's letter, he alleges subsequent investigations confirm that the Clinton campaign and the DNC paid Steele via the law firm Perkins Coie and opposition research firm Fusion GPS to provide derogatory information about Trump's purported ties to Russia, which resulted in the discredited dossier. In July 2025, the Trump administration declassified documents which appeared to show Brennan approved the decision to include the dossier, despite objections from senior CIA officials. So once again, and I don't know how they thought how they thought that this was not going to be found out. Did they really think that they would do this, that they would get away with this, and absolutely no one would find out? What are they smoking? What crack pipe are they on? It makes absolutely no sense. There was no way you were going to let me put it this way. Maybe, just maybe, they thought that come 2024, a different Republican would be in there, and that Republican could be talked out of undermining or making our intelligence agencies look bad. Well, we don't want to undermine faith in the FBI or in the CIA. They really didn't for some reason did not anticipate that Donald Trump would be back. Really? Which then raises the question, what other crap have they done? Either against Republicans or, to be honest, against Democrats. I don't know. But what steps have some of these high-level bureaucrats in the CIA done, or in the FBI, or any of the other alphabet agencies? What have they done believing that somehow they're going to be protected and no one's going to reveal it because people don't want to undermine faith in government? Well, you know what? Donald Trump ain't having none of it. He's revealing these swamp monsters for who they are. And, I get it. People out there are saying, look, hey, Trump's going after his political enemies. No, he's going after criminals, people who have committed crimes, obvious crimes. And quite frankly, if some of this stuff weren't declassified, we, the American public, would never know. So now we know. And yes, it has undermined my faith in the FBI. It has undermined my faith in the CIA. But then again, I've never really had a lot of faith in government. I don't think the founders did. Because as long as any entity is made up of people, those people are sometimes at one point or another going to not be good people or not be smart people. That's a given. It's just law of averages, folks. The law of averages. And when I look at this stuff that's going on, and let's be real, these were instances where they were clearly going after a political enemy. There is absolutely no doubt. And there was no doubt that even in his own administration, there were people in the alphabet agencies who did not like Donald Trump and did not want Donald Trump to be president. And then once he was president, wanted to do everything to undermine his presidency and his policies because there are things that they want to do. He was interfering with their fiefdom. Because their attitude is, look, we've been here long. We were here long before he got here, and we're going to be here long after he's gone. Well, it's not looking like it. And Mr. Brennan, I'm really curious to see. And by the way, I get it. Normally people are not charged with contempt of Congress or with lying to Congress. Normally those charges don't go anywhere. I'm really hoping all of these do. I'm really hoping these cases do, because at the very least, we need to hear the truth. The American public needs to hear the truth. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there are people, I think the more people hear, the more they're starting to believe that the left is full of a bunch of hooey. Anyway, that's just me. I may be wrong, but I don't think that I am. In fact, pretty damn confident that I am not wrong. Anyway, that now brings us to an interesting story. Glock is going to be discontinuing dozens of models. And here's an announcement by the guy over at the Glock store talking a little bit about it.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill with the Glock Store Performance and Custom Shop here in Nashville today. And I've got breaking news. It's shocking news, and quite honestly, hard to believe, because I just heard this from a very reliable source, that as of November 30th, Glock is going to discontinue all models, Gen 3, 4, 5, everything except for the slimline guns are going to be discontinued and replaced with what they call the new V model, Glock Model V. Pretty crazy, right? Now, Glock says this is all about an improved trigger and improved slide, but the reality of it is these changes will prevent the Glock from accepting a switch that will convert it to full auto. So that's really what I think this is all about. And it's happening, like I said, in about 30 days. The new Glock V model will be available only as a non-MOS gun to start. That's what we understand. And we've seen that there are some Glock 19V models. There's also a Glock 19C V model, 19XV and all that other stuff. So they're coming. And it's pretty crazy because, you can imagine that there's going to be some panic going on here, because all the guns, the Gen 3, the Gen 5, all the double stack Glocks are being discontinued, except, like I said, the slimline models. And it's shocking, and it's something that you've heard first right here on Glock Store. I'm Lenny McGill. Thanks for watching.
All right, so this is I actually found this out and found the video over at Bearing Arms, written by our good friend Mr. Cam Edwards. It says here, gun world buzzing over Glock's decision to discontinue dozens of models. Amidst multiple lawsuits and legislation targeting the sale of Glock pistols, the Austrian gunmaker is discontinuing products of most of its current models. Several Glock distributors began reporting on Monday afternoon that the company will stop models that are going to wind up being discontinued. This is wow, this is a big one. So they got the 21. I mean, man, that's a bunch of models right there. And just to be sure, so in essence, what's going to happen is no new Glocks are going to be available for sale here in California. I mean, here in California, no new Glocks, because keep in mind the new Glock V series, the one they're talking about right here, you see from over at Guns and Gadgets. Or the post we have here, right here, we're talking about the new the V series. Those are not California legal. So even if we wind up winning, because there's right now a lawsuit that banned the sale of Glocks in California, in the end, what's going to wind up happening is we're not going to have access to Glocks in California any longer. Not unless the roster gets overturned. So if you want a Glock in the state of California, you're gonna have to buy one. You have to buy one off a private party. If you want a new model, well, you can get a new model off of a private party, someone who's in law enforcement or who moved to California from another state, because they're the only ones that are allowed to have it or to buy it, because you can't buy it from anywhere unless you are law enforcement until the lawsuit changes. So it's now even worse. Now, not only that, you're not going to be able to buy anything new, even a new Gen 3. You're not going to be able to buy new. Like I have a 30 short frame, love it, double stack. I guess that's on the list of things that are being discontinued. So I'm glad I got it when I got it. That's right. I got it specifically because I wanted something. I wanted to carry 45 caliber. I wanted something though. In California, we have the 10-round magazine rule, so I wanted something that I could max out at 10+1, and the Glock short frame, the 30 short frame fit. It's a little heavier than most folks like. I know a lot of folks really like a light gun. I prefer something a little heavier. I like having something substantive in my hand when I'm engaging in self-defense, shall we say, or just going pew pew. But yeah, no. So I'm glad I got mine when I did. It was anyway. So for those of you in California, we're about to be Glockless unless you're going to buy it. So guess you're going to have to go to wherever you can go to online, and do what you can do, or find a private seller who can sell you a Glock, because unless you're a cop, no more Glock for you in California. At least not in the foreseeable future. How about that? Does that make sense? Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that pretty much makes sense. No more Glock for you. Okay, what story do we have here? Oh, okay, here we got another story. So, University of San Diego had this black alumni. It was a black alumni scholarship, and the point of the Black Alumni Scholarship was to help Black students, encourage them to go to UC San Diego. Well, a white guy applied and was denied because he wasn't Black, and he sued. And well, let's just say the courts said, no, you cannot do that. You are not allowed to have a race-based scholarship that denies access to white students. And because of that, they're now canceling the scholarship. This, according to the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon. UC San Diego axes race-based scholarship challenge under KKK Act. The University of California at San Diego has eliminated a scholarship for which only blacks are eligible after a conservative nonprofit challenged its legality under the Ku Klux Klan Act, vindicating a novel legal strategy that could be used to challenge similar programs. UCSD had transferred the scholarship, the Black Alumni Scholarship Fund, to a private nonprofit in order to get around California's ban on racial preferences. In July, the Pacific Legal Foundation filed a lawsuit against the program, alleging it violated a 19th century law, the Ku Klux Klan Act, that bans conspiracies to deprive people of their civil rights. The complaint argued the arrangement between UCSD and the nonprofit was one such conspiracy. Rather than take its chances in court, the university renamed the program to the Goins Alumni Scholarship Fund and opened it to students of all races, according to updated web pages for the program. The Pacific Legal Foundation dropped its case against the school on Monday, saying its clients are satisfied with the changes. The victory proves the Constitution's premise of equality before the law still has teeth, said Jack Brown, an attorney for the group. The Ku Klux Klan Act was written to stop government actors from conspiring with private parties to discriminate. And that's exactly what happened here. When faced with the law, UC San Diego had no choice but to retreat. Now, this is going to be interesting because, because while it is a legal victory, the interesting thing about it is it's not really a legal victory. It's a victory. It may be a victory. They may have been successful in eliminating the policy in one place, but what's going to wind up happening is they're going to have to sue somebody else. Now they're going to have to find somebody else with a similar program. They're going to have to sue them in order to be able to get a legal ruling, some sort of a ruling in court that this is a program that is in fact unconstitutional. I don't know if they're going to be successful in that, but anyway, it'll be interesting to see if anybody's got the wherewithal to stick in on this. It's going to be the Pacific Legal Foundation. Them and the Pacific Justice Institute do phenomenal work, and I am pretty confident that they will find a way to stand up for the rights of others. And, I guess what's frustrating to me to a certain degree is I think you want to do things that encourage people, or in particular from groups of people from demographics who do not traditionally go to college, to encourage them, to let them know that it is an option. I don't think you need to discriminate based on race. I think more it's about providing information than it is about discriminating. Unfortunately, there are many people who, when they're trying to create equality, or in their eyes to create equity, for them, you have to take away from others in order to be able to successfully do that. I disagree with that, but I'm not against the idea of promoting and pushing and encouraging people of different backgrounds who traditionally haven't gone to college to go to college. I'm all for programs that encourage that. I do not, though, however, believe we ought to be discriminating. Anyway, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. Well, obviously, everyone's right now is talking about the shutdown. And, let's just say that during No King's Day, the president, someone, I don't know who, created an AI video of the president dropping feces on the crowd of the No Kings protesters while he's flying in a jet with his crown and robe on. And Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries decided he was going to go on the news on CNN and criticize the president for doing such. And let's just say that he shouldn't have done that.
Bombing the No Kings protesters with piles of waste. How do you see it?
Well, that video is deeply unserious.
Okay. I'm kind of speechless. Do you really think you're going to go? I mean, if people have the ability to create these videos that are hilarious, and then you're going to go on and criticize you, this isn't the first time he's done this to you, Mr. Jeffries, and it won't be the last. Stop whining. Open up the government, because we all know it's y'all's fault. It's your fault that it's shut down. Now, this one right here. Now, I must say this one does have a bad word in it. So for those of you with sensitive ears, you may want to tune out real quick, and I'll explain to you what's going on this one at the back end. But I saw this and I thought it was funny.
The picture I'm about to show you is pretty controversial. They finally surfaced photographs of Donald Trump grabbing up, and I'm disgusted. He is supposed to be the president of the United States, and yet this is what we have. We have a guy that goes around grabbing pussies.
Her name was Kitty, made her money.
For those of you who are just listening to the podcast, that was a picture of President Trump shaking hands with Gavin Newsom. I approve this message. I'll just say that. And then finally, from our friends over at the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust, we got another list, and you're going to love this list, because this thing is, here are all the things that were accomplished by last weekend's No Kings protest. And, well, let's just say there's a bunch of bullet points, and there's absolutely nothing there. Fun stuff, fun stuff, fun stuff. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to be about it for today. We very much appreciate you tuning in. Oh, wait. Forgot. We got one last thing to do. You guessed it. Quick shout out to our sponsors. We have the folks over at Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at hitmanindustries.net. We got the California Republican Assembly, the conscience of the Republican Party. Look for them at cragop.org. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com, helping Americans wear guns. And then we have the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun, uscombatgear.com. All right, now that is going to be it for today's program. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow. Let's see, we've got tomorrow is number 997. Thursday would be 998. Friday is going to be 999. We're going to party like it's 990, episode 999. And then on Monday, fun day, is going to be episode 1000. And we're going to have a good time with it. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.